Good morning. Welcome to this service of Unity of Burning for Sunday, January 31st, 2021. I'm Reverend J. Mulkey, and I'm so glad you're able to join us. The daily word for today is now. I find my power in this very moment. Yesterday is past, and tomorrow is not yet here. There is only this moment, ripe with promise and potential, ready for me to live it fully. Through my many divine gifts, everything I need to get started is within me. I need not wait for the perfect moment to arrive because there is no time more perfect than now and no place more perfect than here. Procrastination has no place in my life. I fritter away my energy when I find reasons not to get started, losing my zeal and focus and inviting frustration into my life. Today, I claim the power of the present and say, this is the day I begin. Now is the time to begin to serve, to forgive, to create, and to love. The scripture reading from Daily Word is from 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 2. See, now is the acceptable time. Now is the day of salvation. And now is the working unit of our lives. And today I want to talk about how to make that now the most you can through the process of what I call disillusioning yourself or disillusioning myself. As we go through life, we pick up many descriptors and labels that we add to ourselves unknowingly by what people or circumstances or events we may have told ourselves about them. And it's about this that I'd like to talk to you about. We all are a composite of what we've been through, what we've been up to this moment. And it's kitty cats don't know when you're recording. Or maybe they do. They're a wonderful blessing in my life, and I don't want anyone ever to think otherwise. Just sometimes. The descriptors that we place on ourselves can limit us from the free flow of truth and love and God inside us. It doesn't matter how old we are or how young, we've all accrued experiences and events that make us who we are. As I say, we've brought this baggage with us to this moment. And if it's not working for us, I want to challenge all of you to let it go. And how do we do that? What is a real, authentic way to do that? You know, many people say, if I say enough affirmations and I repeat enough positive statements, my subconscious will begin to believe it. And there's a degree of truth in that. But if we don't let go the limiting concepts we have of ourselves, if we can't release those brakes that hold us inside, we're not going to live to the full potential of what God has for us. We're all born with a mission for a purpose. And our purpose is to express our God self fully, to be creatively alive. We're here to fulfill a purpose that no one else can but us. That is the beauty, and that's also the challenge of being alive. This morning, I'd like to share with you some ideas that I found workable and usable in being the most authentic person and disillusioning in the most positive way. I'm using the word disillusionment in the most positive way so that we get the most out of living. To let an experience or an event define you with your assent, with you taking it personally, with you ascribing a self-descriptor, is something that can be good if it brings joy to you, but many times I've found that self-defeating labels, self-defeating ideas about who we are and what we can do, they limit us so much. So many times we're not even aware of it. And it impedes our spiritual growth because the truth of our being is ready to meet life now. God's love is present with you as you right now. And there is nothing that you can do to make yourself more worthy and more ready for service to yourself or to anyone else by anything that you can do. Nothing can take that away from you unless you allow it. And so many times we give our power away. I've seen, for instance, in this past year, many happy and positive people react to this pandemic. And I at times have done it myself, where I say, if only this would be over, if only this wouldn't have happened, if going on and on against reality and what's present. The truth is, I believe that we should pay attention to the safety protocols of what's going on and do practical things that keep us all safe, but that we shouldn't allow this time to be colored with our own negative opinion. For instance, this is a wonderful time, even though it's socially isolating and there's distance and all that, but this is a wonderful time to reflect, to meditate, to journal, to engage in activities that grow yourself, that expand yourself, that let you express more of who you are. The truth is, God only knows perfection about you and me. We live in a relative universe, and we don't know always what's going to happen when we start a certain course of action. And so it's up to us to be aware and alive to the moment enough to realize what is ours to take on and what is not. There is nothing that you're going to go through that you're not equipped to go through, except we tend to place the labels on what we go through. And by doing that, we limit ourselves. And sometimes, and I've seen it happen, people have limited themselves for a lifetime with the I ams. And we know in New Thought that I am is a very powerful two words, because we know our life is built on saying I am. And if we say I am strong, I am confident, I am capable, I am well able, we are repeating the truth of our being. But if we say I am weak, I am defeated, I'm incomplete, I've been through too many things to change, then we are buying into things that aren't true for us. Now, we can't do everything, but even if there's something that challenges us, something that we haven't quite been able to master at this time, we don't have to say, I can't do this and it makes me bad or deficient. We simply could say, I choose not to do this at this time, or this is not part of my skill set or my talents, and move on and let it go. But so many times we feel we need to live up to or make excuses for or attempt to be something we're not. We take these illusions and tell ourselves stories about who and what we are. And when those stories take on a life of their own and become real and they're acted out, then our lives don't work. And it could have been changed with just a simple shift in perception, a shift of what you're going through at the time, that you don't add your own opinion that's colored in a negative way. We're meant to be expansive. And so this morning, I'd like to talk about the personality that we have that holds on to illusions and why we do it. And one of the reasons why we do it is because it's comfortable. We get a sense of identity from it. And that is a very comfortable thing to have, even if it doesn't serve us. It keeps us from having to go inside and sometimes do the hard work of changing, of being more present in the moment, of showing the divine qualities we possess. This time, this particular time in our world's history, as I've said, we have the chance to take time to look at who we are, who we've been, where we've been, and what that has made us. And when we're able to do that and do it well, we master the skills of this thing called life. You see, life is always questioning us. This is my belief. Life is always questioning us with the idea of how are we going to rise in the midst of whatever it may be that we're going through. What are we going to learn about ourselves? What are we going to contribute? What are we going to be because of what we are experiencing? The answers to those questions are as numerous as there are people. But we're all pretty much the same in the sense that we know what makes us feel good and what descriptors we want to hang on to, and also what makes us feel bad and what descriptors we need to let go. And sometimes we're caught in the middle of those two things, and we don't know quite how to get out of it. And I want to suggest something that seems so obvious, I think we forget it. We know that prayer is talking to God. We also know that meditation is God talking to us. And in those moments of quiet contemplation and meditation, we are able to still the mental chatter, to calm the personality for that moment. It can be done, even though it seems like there may be a million things jumping around in our minds. If we persist at it for a little bit, we find that we get more clarity. We get better at what we're doing. And we can go deeper in the meditative state and learn things about ourselves, because the interior of ourselves, the subconscious mind, the place where God is present, is ready to show us at all times, most importantly, that we're loved and cherished, and to give us answers to our deepest questions. So to disillusion yourself to begin with means a willingness to admit that you have carried certain ideas and opinions about yourself or events or other people, and that they have not served or worked for you. They haven't produced the results. You haven't. To me, there's really no such thing as failure per se. There just is the production of results. And if you don't like the results you produced, you could either not engage in it in the future or try to become proficient at it, whatever it may be. But you don't have to label yourself with a negative descriptor. So I think the meditative state, or the contemplative state, that we sit back, take some deep breaths, and we do this every Thursday night at Pathlighters, which is something I conceived of some months ago that I absolutely love. It's the bringing together of a number of churches in our area. In Texas, it actually extends beyond the reach of Texas. But we have a group of people that are dedicated to meditating together for personal and collective intentions. And the intention that we have right now is to show more love to the world and show more love to ourselves. I kind of said that backwards, because we first have to show love to ourselves before we can adequately show it to the world. But this is what we do at Pathlighters every Thursday night at 8 p.m. And if you're not a part of that, I heartily encourage you to come to it. Facebook Live, or Zoom, Zoom Live every Thursday night at 8 p.m. And if you're not, if you would like to join us, you just leave a comment in the space below here where you're watching, or send us email at unityofbernie@yahoo.org, and you'll be added. But you'll find a group of dedicated, intentional people who are seeking to help be part of healing ourselves and our world. So meditation and contemplation are very important components of this process of releasing the negative things, the descriptors we have of ourselves, the idea that we are less than what we need to be. When we go inside, we're going to be shown by Spirit the truth of our being. And when we know that we are love and we walk in that love on a daily basis for ourselves and other people, our lives work, and they work much better than when we carry, as I've said, negative self-descriptors around and then replicate that in our experience and to other people. So in addition to meditation, I want to suggest this other activity that I think means so much, or has meant so much, at least to me. And that is not only meditating and going inside, but forgiving ourselves for failing to live up to what we think is our best, or what may have been our best potential. All of us are going to miss the mark at times. And when we get negative and upset and say this is a sin, or somebody else says this is sin, that is somebody putting a judgment on us. And most times it happens in a religious setting where a person will say, you have sinned, you have done wrong, you deserve punishment. This is something that only breeds resentment. We may give assent to it for a while. We may say okay to it for a while, but eventually we will come to resent the very object of who we're told to love. Well, that's God. But if you're doing it if you're doing the disillusionment in a positive way, you know that God is present with you amidst all these challenges, that God is actively involved in your life, that you don't have to do anything to earn your way into God's favor. There is nothing that your higher self doesn't know that you need to know for this journey. You have been given access to wisdom, and that came with you with your mission here. Your wonderful job, your joyful job, is to unwrap that package and find out the contents of it, unwrapping you, disillusioning yourself from what you have been told, what you have believed that wasn't true, and accepting the truth that is at the very heart of your being. Love made you, love has a purpose for you, and love will guide you. But we have to let it. And the third thing I'd like to say is our personalities sometimes can be so constrictive about this thing. We don't want to give up what we think is right. It is very hard for us to many times admit we were wrong, even if we've made a wrong assessment of our own abilities, of our own capabilities, of our ability to rise to the occasion. We have put ourselves in a subordinate position and been comfortable with that, maybe by saying that's just the way I am. I can't help it. Any excuse that we may have, rather than getting busy with the work that is ours to do inside. God sees perfection in us, and we are perfect, but we live in a world where we develop the results of the perfect being we are. And many times the space between those two things, there's a wide gulf between them. We are enough. We are capable. We are strong. We're all those things. But the situations around us can conspire to make us feel less than. So we have to live in a state of forgiveness. Every day that we wake up, we have a curriculum in front of us. Why is it that way? Because it shows up. That's what you wake up to on a daily basis. Your curriculum for this class in this place called Earth. You have a job to do that is yours and yours alone. And I think we make it unnecessarily hard on ourselves because we sometimes live in lack of forgiveness of ourselves and others. And sometimes we claim an identity about that. So really, the basis of all this is understanding yourself. There's no price too great to pay for the privilege of owning yourself and understanding yourself. And you will know when you're in meditation or contemplation or by experience or by journaling, when you make a conscious decision to see the truth, to know what illusions you have to drop about yourself and others. You will know it. It will feel right. It's known as the still small voice inside. And if you ever wondered what that voice sounds like, I found for me, it's the one that says, I sound like this. You can go in and find your purpose in life by doing much the same thing. Sit down and say, what is my purpose? Let your mind run free, and you'll come up with adjectives in your mind, descriptors about who you are and what you love and what you've been through and so forth, that lets you see that you've had a general purpose in your life, and you can now refine it or hone it or make it better in your representation in the world. That's a wonderful thing to do. Understanding your purpose, disillusioning yourself, forgiving yourself, knowing the truth about who you are. Those are the things that we spend our lives doing. And if we're doing them right, we're doing them almost by second nature. We see an event, or we go through an event, and we take and process the information that we need, and what's left over that doesn't serve us, we're able to drop, just release and let go, knowing that it's not true for or about us. It may be true for or about somebody else, but not necessarily us. We're individuals, but we're also, in many ways, more alike than different. We each want to feel that we have a special mission and purpose in this life, and we do. But we're only going to find it when we silence that chatter in our mind. And that chatter can sometimes sound like voices from ages ago. Or it could be something that we picked up just by observing things in our lives and letting our own self-image color the opinion we have about the information that's coming in. So I ask you this morning, drop everything that limits you in your mind. And you will find that you begin doing that in your actions. It first starts here. You know, the mind is a wonderful, wonderful thing. It's the way we are able to process our information and live. And so many times we don't care for it well. We allow accrued judgments and negativities and illusions to clog up our spiritual pipes. We can unclog them this morning by remembering who we are and by making a dedicated, definite decision that we're going to go inside and listen to the voice of Spirit and hear that still small voice tell us what we need to do, the truth about us, and how much we're loved. If we can't believe that right now, if we can't know that that is true, we can at least accept the idea that it can be. Some people have been in negativity so long, and I'm not saying that you are, but I don't know your situation personally, but some people can be in negativity so long that they feel that anything almost that's new is beyond them. Anything that's positive and fresh and connotes a new beginning. They're so constant with the idea that they're wanting or lacking in one area. And because we all want or lack in one or more areas, does not make us deficient any more than typing the wrong button on a computer makes the computer bad. It's a matter of how we choose to interpret and release and let go of the things that we see and the things that happen to us. So whether it's a small irritation or the greatest challenge of your life or somewhere in between, you are at choice. You can disillusion yourself and course correct anytime you want to. And you have a God that is willing, that rushes to you, as we were told in the prodigal son, that wonderful story that I love, where basically the father rushes out to the errant son and says, I have forgiven you. I really never blamed you. I love you. He met the son more than halfway. And he threw a party for his son because his son had come to himself through a series of negative experiences where the son even ended up, as it was said, feeding the pigs and living in a very demeaned state. The son was able to say, I may be in a far-off country, I may be far away from my divine ideal or my father, but I'm going to turn around, make a decision, turn around and come back and learn how to do it better. That can smart to our egos. We don't like that feeling sometimes. Nobody wants to go back, make a return trip back someplace and say, I failed, I messed up. But that's precisely the place for an authentic beginning, for authenticity to come forth in your life. You're not making excuses for yourself or anything that you've done. You're willing to own it. You say it's true, but you forgive yourself and you know you're a work in progress, and you disillusion yourself from the idea that you ever lacked power, that you ever lacked anything you needed to live fully and on purpose, no matter who you are and what you're going through. My prayer this morning for you is that you're able to realize your entire potential, and you do that by going inside and listening to that still small voice that never leads us astray, that is with us as us every moment of the day. Listen to the powerful truths, and if that voice whispers something other than your inherent perfection, then it's the wrong voice. The voice of God always upholds, uplifts, instructs, and gives positive direction to our lives. The truth is, we just have to get rid of the illusions about ourselves and about what we've been through and about what we've thought about what we've been through. Just let them go. And the pure, powerful, positive presence of a loving God comes up in our lives. I wish that for you. I hope you will take those steps today, wherever they may be in your life, so that you can be authentically disillusioned and empowered and more than able to meet whatever comes your way. That's how we're meant to live. That's how we're meant to love. Thank you. And so it is. During this time, Unity of Bernie is no different than any other church that exists. We have monetary needs. And at this time in our service, usually, we take up a collection. And so online, it's been through PayPal, or some people have preferred to send their gifts, and you can, to Unity of Bernie at P.O. Box 1973, Bernie, Texas 78006. That's Unity of Bernie, P.O. Box 1973, Bernie, Texas 78006. Or you can donate via PayPal on this page or our webpage. So there are a number of ways for you to give. We do need your help. I ask for you to include your most generous donation, or tithe, or gift, or whatever you want to call it, to our ministry, because we are making a difference. Unity of Bernie, we are doing things online. As I mentioned earlier, not only Pathlighters, Sunday night book discussion, classes, etc. There are all kinds of things that comprise our online ministry right now. We do believe that our recongregation is sooner rather than later. We believe that day is coming. But right now, we minister where we can have presence. And our presence is online for this time. So I ask you again, please send your most generous gift to the wonderful Church of Unity of Bernie. I've called it the house that love built, and it's true. It's an oasis of love in the Texas Hill Country. And you'll find when we recongregate and you're able to walk through the doors, you'll say, where has this been all the time? This is what I've been looking for. I believe that because I've heard it from too many people who have walked through our church doors. So I thank you for including us in your giving today. Our mission statement at Unity of Bernie is we are a vibrant, loving, spiritual community creating a sacred space for personal growth. We honor and celebrate the Christ within all people. And you'll find that we do. You'll find a group of loving, caring, supportive, wonderful people that will uphold and uplift you on your journey. And so with the gift that I ask you to take, generally in this time of service, I ask that we take the gifts that we're going to give, place them in our hands like this, and repeat the following affirmation. And that is, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I send it forth with my blessing and my love. And you'll find that what you give from your heart, what you give with your greatest intent of good, comes back to you, blessed and multiplied. That is my prayer for you this morning as you give. And we know it is given to us as we give. Giving and receiving are part of a divine connection that was established long before we were ever here. The law of giving and receiving, sowing and reaping. So I claim for you and expect for you an abundant harvest of all types of blessings through your giving. And I thank you for that. And now as I leave you for this Sunday, I'd like to repeat the unity prayer that we have said so many times in so many services ever since I've been involved with Unity some 38 years ago. And it is this: the light of God surrounds you. The love of God enfolds you. The power of God protects you. The presence of God watches over you. Wherever you are, God is, and all is well.
Let there be peace on